time for This Week on the Ice, and here are your hosts, Randy Preston and Carol McKee.
Good afternoon and welcome to This Week on the Ice, Hockey 605. I'm Randy Preston and I'm here with my special guest today, Matt Tobin. Hi, Matt.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. We've got a great show ahead of us today. Lots and lots of things going on in hockey here in South Dakota. We're going to spend a little bit of time today talking about the Junior Stampede, and Matt's involved with that. We've got our normal weekly youth hockey roundup. Carol's going to be talking about that. You'll notice Carol's not here today. She's out in the hills, and she'll be submitting her report via video. Randy's told me that that's all taken care of, so we'll be good. Hi, Carol. Hope you're having a great time out west. We'll also be talking a little bit then about some of the varsity hockey scores and stats from around the league this week. Lots and lots of varsity and junior varsity hockey going on. It's a great time if you're a hockey fan.
Hockey season has started.
It's well among us.
Yes.
And then we'll wrap up today with our junior report, junior and AAA report. Once again, lots and lots of stuff going on. So why don't we just start, and I just want to introduce once again Matt Tobin. Matt, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you for having us on. We really appreciate your support and for giving us a chance to explain our program to all of your viewers. I'm originally from Aberdeen. I grew up in Aberdeen, played hockey there. I played college hockey at St. John's University. I've been here in Sioux Falls since 1998, and I've been very involved in our youth program since that time, having coached at numerous levels, both here in Sioux Falls and throughout the state. And it was just time now to take the game to the next level, and so this year we took on the challenge of creating a new Tier 1 AAA program called the Junior Stampede.
Okay, so Junior Stampede, Tier 1 AAA. Tell me what the difference, I guess, is between Tier 1 AAA and, let's say, Sioux Falls Youth Hockey. What would you say is the major difference?
Well, the Tier 1 generally refers to the highest level of amateur hockey across the United States.
Okay.
And hockey on the coast, that is the East Coast and the West Coast, is very different than hockey in the Midwest. Hockey in the Midwest is very much organized around local communities, and Minnesota, for example, has the best example where you have youngsters at the mite and squirt level that play for, say, the Eden Prairie youth program, and then they grow up in that program and go on to play for their high school. Well, on the East Coast and the West Coast and in Michigan and Illinois, much of the hockey is actually structured around a tier structure. Tier 1 and Tier 2, there's Tier 1 AAA and AA, and so there are youth programs in those areas, but at the top levels then you have these Tier 1 programs. And so USA Hockey has a Tier 1 national championship and a Tier 2 national championship. And so in the past, South Dakota has sent teams to the Tier 2 national championship, and that's been what's called a before and after program, where the kids come from across the state. They play no less than 20 games in the fall, then they go back and play for their own program over the winter season, and then they come back together in the spring. They go to the national tournament and compete for the Tier 2 national title. A Tier 1 program is together the entire season.
Okay.
And so we are playing at the highest level of amateur hockey recognized in the U.S.
So just to be clear then, a player who is rostered on the Junior Stampede is rostered on the Junior Stampede. They don't play for their youth program.
That's correct. So all of the players, and we have players that have come from, I think, 4 or 5 different states and across South Dakota, all of them register with their own, or through their own program. But then that USA Hockey registration number is submitted to us, and they are put on our Tier 1 team roster, which is then submitted to USA Hockey for approval.
Okay. So I mean, it's really all about kind of gleaning the top players from around the area. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think there's multiple layers to what we're doing here. On a grand level, I think we're trying to grow the game and bring a higher level of hockey to South Dakota as a whole. Also, we're trying to give players from across South Dakota some exposure on a national level. we are also then, hoping to bring some of that into the communities across South Dakota. And so, for example, one way that we hope to do that is if we have kids that otherwise would have played for Team South Dakota that are now playing for the Tier 1 Junior Stampede program, that would open up a couple spots then on Team South Dakota for kids that otherwise maybe wouldn't have made that team are now on that team. And so now, rather than, let's say, 16 kids being exposed to a higher Tier 2 level of hockey, you might have 4 or 5 kids now exposed to Tier 1 level hockey, and then another 16 to 18 kids exposed to Tier 2 hockey. And if that continues for a number of years, I believe we're growing the game and exposing more players to higher levels of hockey all across South Dakota.
Well, that's great. I like that a lot. I know that the U16, U14 teams that we've sent to national tournaments over the years have done very, very well at the Tier 2 level.
Yep.
And so this is basically just stepping up to the next level and see how we do.
That's right. And then our reach is much broader. Team South Dakota, of course, was confined to those players in South Dakota. As a Tier 1 team, we can have kids from anywhere across the U.S. And so, for example, this year we have a player from Fargo, we have some players from Minnesota, we have some players from Iowa, and then across South Dakota. And if you look at Tier 1 rosters across the country, you'll find that you'll have kids from California playing on a team in Chicago. And actually the roster looks a lot more like, say, the big Stampede team roster than it does, say, just a team with a bunch of local kids.
Right. So, kind of breaking it down a little bit, just if somebody is interested, this year's team's already set, obviously, but if in the future somebody's interested in becoming part of the Junior Stampede, what is the process to do that?
Right, so this year we started with just the U14 team, and the idea has been to build the Junior Stampede Tier 1 program from the bottom up. And so we're going to hopefully move those kids along, and next year we're going to add a U16 team and a U18 team. So we'll have 3 teams, and so next year we'll hold a tryout weekend, likely in April or May. It'll start on a Friday night and conclude on Sunday. It will include multiple skating sessions, off-ice workouts, conditioning and so forth, and through that tryout process, kids would be able to express their interest and try out for one of these teams.
Okay, very good. So you mentioned you've got a lot of players on the team from around the area.
Yep.
We'll talk a little bit more in detail about the players a little later in the show today.
Sure.
You did bring in a very high-level coach, however. You want to talk about your coach, please? Yeah,
I think just one of the true benefits of the program has been our head coach. Mike Deach is his name, and Mike is from Faribault, Minnesota. Coach Mike started coaching hockey in the early 90s as an assistant coach with the Minnesota North Stars. As you know, the North Stars then left and moved to Dallas. And about that time, a group of guys led by J.P. Parisi, Zach Parisi's father, went to Shattuck St. Mary's and started what is now the powerhouse of Shattuck St. Mary hockey. Mike Deach was one of the guys that went with them and started that program. And so Mike has coached at Shattuck, which is a prominent Tier 1 program. He coached at Shattuck for 20 years.
Okay. So you've got a great coach, it sounds like.
We have a terrific coach, and in addition to being a great hockey coach, he's a great guy. I tell people the kids on our team are learning as much about being quality young men as they are about being quality hockey players. And I think anytime you can develop young men, both off the ice and on the ice, you're doing something right.
That sounds great. So if somebody would want to learn more about the Junior Stampede, how do we do that? What is there contact information, a website, anything along those lines?
Yeah, we're in the process of building a website right now, so in the next maybe week or two we should have it up and operational. There's just been so many parts to getting this up and off the ground that we took care of the players and the schedule and all of that first, but now we're back to some of the others that include the website. So stay tuned on that. But we have a Facebook page and Twitter. Of course, people could contact me. either through email or by phone, and I'm happy to visit with people about the program.
Well, we'll put contact information out on the Hockey 605 website.
Sure.
And once again, we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the team later in the show today.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break right now for one of our sponsors.
Bargain Bites is a certified Microsoft refurbisher, and just look at the deals they can get you. They're having a Black Friday sale, but theirs is different from all the rest because their Black Friday sale runs every day through Christmas. Just look at this. You can get an HP EliteBook laptop for as little as $150, and that deal is good through Christmas, while supplies last. All their monitors and desktops are 15% off too, and you guessed it, that deal is good through Christmas. Just look at these deals. Laptops, desktops, and towers as low as $100. Flat screen monitors as low as $25. They have flat screen TVs, check for pricing. Video cards, sound cards, memory, motherboards as low as $15. Check them out for printers, stereo receivers, cell phones, wireless routers, speakers, and projectors. Call for pricing or come to the store to see these great deals for yourself. Oh, and did you know they have a YouTube channel with lots of great information for you? They even have a tech guru. Subscribe today. Bargain Bites. They're on 48th Street North, just north of Benson Road by the airport. Check them out online at bargainbites.net.
Good evening and welcome back to Hockey 605's This Week on the Ice. I'm Randy Preston, along here with Matt Tobin. Matt?
Hello.
Hello, again. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about AAA hockey.
Okay.
And you've told us something about the Tier 1 Junior Stampede.
Yep.
You've got a lot of great players on the team. You've got a lot of games that you've already got under your belt. Why don't we talk a little bit about your players?
Sure. We have 18 players on the U14 team, and the U14 are all 2000 birth years for the most part. We have, I think, 4 2001 players. We're currently carrying four goalies,
okay,
which is a little unusual for any hockey team. But we have a couple that are competing for the top spot, and then we've got an 01 that we've been bringing along for developmental purposes. He's been working hard, and we've gotten him some games as well. But we have a player from Fargo, we have one from Minnesota, a couple from Iowa, and then we've got players from Mitchell, Sioux Falls, Brookings, Watertown, and Aberdeen.
It's a lot of players, or a lot of different areas.
Yep.
How does this team get together in practice?
So the U14 team is considered a commuter-based team, and that's opposed to, say, a billet situation where a player would actually move to Sioux Falls, live with a host family, go to school here. So we're not doing that at the U14 level. So this U14 team comes together every weekend.
Okay.
So a practice weekend, for example, we practice from 7 to 8:30 on a Friday night.
All right.
Then the kids are back on the ice, say at 9 to 10:30 on a Saturday morning. They go over to Sanford Power and they do power workout from 11 to 12. That's followed by yoga from 12 to 1. And then there's a break in the afternoon, then they're back on the ice from, say, 4:30 to 6. And then they also skate Sunday morning, 8:30 to 10. So they get 6 hours of ice on the weekend, plus an off-ice power workout, plus yoga. And that's a standard practice weekend. And now that we're playing, we're filling in some of the downtime with game film and some player meetings. And so there's a lot going on for our practice weekends. And then in addition to practice weekends, then we are playing. And right now, I think we're in the middle of maybe 8 weekends in a row, but we played 3 weekends in a row. We were in Denver, Colorado for the East Coast Hockey League showcase. And then we were in Madison for 3 games with the Madison Capitals. And last weekend, then we were up in Blaine for the what's called the NAPHL, the Prospects Hockey League Showcase Bantam Tournament Series. Okay, so the games and tournaments and showcases, of course, are all on weekends, usually Friday through a Sunday, and our practices are Friday through Sunday.
Okay.
The players are responsible for their weekly workouts. They're sent home with off-ice workouts from Power, and then they have to get on the ice, and they, whether it's outdoors or through their association or what have you, It's on them to get on the ice and do some on-ice workouts during the week, and then to be doing the off-ice workouts on their own.
Okay. It's a lot of responsibility for U14.
It is, but it goes with the turf. If you're going to play at this level, it takes that kind of commitment and that level of responsibility to be responsible for your preparation, for your training, of course, for your play.
I understand. So you've played roughly not quite 20 games so far?
20 games, right.
How's the team doing?
They're doing well. You know, our record is 6-13.
Okay.
We've had, of course, 6 wins. We've had a lot of competitive games. We've been on the backside of some blowout losses as well. But I think that's all part of the process. The kids are having to adjust to the speed of play, the level of organization. Each player has to learn to be responsible for their role on the ice, and so it's been a big transition. Even the mental commitment that it takes to say play 4 or 5 games in a weekend at that level is you know, we all think of it as being physically demanding, which of course it is, and so there's the physical side that brings with it proper conditioning and nutrition, but even the mental commitment to raise your game and play at a higher level takes a lot of mental energy, and so. It's been a big adjustment, but overall, the kids are learning a lot, and to think of where they're at now versus where they were when they came into camp in September, it's just night and day different.
Well, and your Bantam Tournament Series tournament up in Blaine last weekend, the team went 3-1.
Correct. Yep. That was a nice weekend. I tell people wins are good for the soul.
Yeah.
So the team isn't organized around winning, and that's really not the purpose of the team. The purpose is to develop players, and our goal has always been to develop to where we're really competitive at the 16 level, because we knew it would take 1 to 2 years to transition these kids and develop them to be top level tier 1 players. That said, wins are good for the soul because it allows the kids to believe in what we're doing. Right. So that was a big weekend for us. We'd come off 3 losses in Madison where actually the team played very well. We just couldn't get the puck in the net. And then to take that a step further and get 3 wins last weekend, it was very good for them.
Yeah, very good. So what's up next for the team?
Well, we practiced this weekend. We actually go to Fargo next weekend. We're playing the Moorhead Bantam AA team on Friday, and then we're playing the Fargo A teams one Saturday and one Sunday. A little bit of an adjustment in our schedule. Most all of it has been Chicago and Denver and places far away, and we've played a lot of top-level Tier 1 teams. But Moorhead and Fargo were interested in playing, and it's an easy trip for us. So right before the holidays, we took them up on that. And Fargo's been good. They're going to come down at the end of January, so it gives us a couple of home games.
Very cool.
So
very cool. Now, what time is the game on Friday?
8:30. We play up in Moorhead, and then we play Saturday evening against Fargo, and then Sunday morning against Fargo. So, and then we'll take the Christmas weekend off, and then we're actually going to practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the week after. Practice the weekend after back here, and then we've got a weekend series with the Green Bay Junior Gamblers.
Okay.
And then we go back to Chicago for the King of Chicago tournament weekend, and then in February we've got a big showcase event, a Super Series 2000 event, which is held at Shattuck, St. Mary's.
Okay. The only reason I brought up the game time on Friday night next week is your namesake team is playing up in Fargo on Friday night at the SCHEELS Arena.
We were looking at that, and we were looking and hoping for a way that maybe we could go there and support them, and then still maybe get a game in ourselves. Maybe had we played earlier, but that. The only ice time available was 8:30 over in Moorhead. So
I understand.
But you know, it's kind of neat though, and it's good for the Stampede organization. The big boys are playing, you know, on Friday night up in Fargo, and the Junior Stampede's playing across town in Moorhead.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Well, it sounds like you at least have a stake the flag in the ground and moving forward.
Yeah, the goal was to get the program established, to get the kids out and compete, and I think we're doing that. Like I said, we hope to grow next year and add the 16 and the 18 team. We hope to attract more players from across the region to the team, and we're looking forward for good things to come.
All right. Just want to mention a few of the players, the South Dakota players in particular that are on your team.
Yep.
You've got Anthony Sikora.
Yep.
Your son Carter Tobin.
Correct.
Jack Olson, also, and those 3 are from Sioux Falls. We've got Dominic Dobish from Brookings, Hunter Hilton from Aberdeen.
Yep.
Nate Muchikanaus here from Sioux Falls. family, kind of well-known family for hockey here in South Dakota.
Yeah, they've got their older boy Lucas is playing in a Tier 3 team over up in Minnesota. He graduated here last year. And then their daughter Hannah is playing on the St. Louis Junior Blues girls team. They were just up in Toronto playing, and Nathan's playing on our team, so they're a busy household. So.
I can't imagine Dan's probably sweating bullets for that. You've got a Mitchell player.
We have two Mitchell players,
okay.
Tucker Hahn and Jake Jarman join us from Mitchell. We have three players from Brookings, Dominic Dobish, whom you mentioned, and then Brendan Way and Joe Bertolini.
Okay. And then a few more Sioux Falls players, it looks like. Jake Hefty, let's see, Nathan Moore, and then a Watertown player in Dawson Workus, and a Oahe Capital Pier player, Spencer
Wadeen.
Okay. Yep. So lots and lots of players from around the state, a few other players from out of state, but since we're Hockey 605, we'll talk about the 605.
Yep.
And then just, you'd already mentioned there's some other AAA stuff going on.
Yeah, so, I think where you're going with this is some of the players that leave South Dakota, which is, again, kind of back to maybe one of the reasons we put this together. Every year the state is dealing with players at maybe the 16 or 17 level that are leaving, and they're playing in other Tier 1 programs. And I know there's, I think, 8 or 9 players from across South Dakota or from South Dakota that are playing in places like Des Moines and Green Bay, and they're having good success. And so part of this was, if the players are desiring a higher level of play and they're leaving to go and get it, let's create a program where they either don't have to leave or don't have to go so far.
Right.
And let's put it right here. And so that was another goal.
And we've got a few that are out there. First of all, Zacchaeus Knudsen, Nate Miller playing for the U16 Iowa Wild.
Yep.
Those are from Sioux Falls. From Brookings, Tristan Keene, goaltender, Colton Cruz, and Hunter Hegdahl, all playing for the U16 Wild.
Correct.
And Zacchaeus, Nate, Tristan, and Colton were all selected for the ECHL All-Star game in Boston.
Yep.
That's coming up this next weekend.
Yep.
Also from Sioux Falls, we've got Zach Bettmang playing for the U16 Green Bay Gamblers. And I know Wyatt Nielsen is playing as well. I don't know exactly where he's playing.
For a program called the Revolution, which is based out of North St. Paul. He's playing on their U18 team.
All right, very good. Well, I think we're going to wrap up the Tier 1 and the AAA part of the program today. We'll take a quick break for our sponsor and be right back.
Thank you.
Hockey Headquarters, assisting all your goals. Visit them today at thehockeyheadquarters.com.
Hi, Randy Preston here, Hockey 605 this week on the ice. And my compadre Carol is out in the Black Hills right now. She's going to go ahead and take the youth hockey roundup. Carol, take it away.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. This is Carol from the Live Mic Production Studio in Rapid City, South Dakota. I've been out here catching some of the Rushmore Thunder games this weekend, and what a great weekend it's been for hockey. Randy, I wish I could be there with you at the IcePlex, but I wouldn't miss what I've been doing this weekend for anything. Happy to give you a little report on what's happening with youth hockey across the state. We're really starting to get busy around the state with high school hockey season in full swing. We'll check in around on the happenings going on across the state, and I have to apologize for not going to have many of the Sunday scores. Up in Aberdeen, the Cougars, they're still looking to find an executive director. It looks like there's still time to apply for that executive director position. If you're interested, you can find information on the aberdeenhockey.com website. Their younger teams had in-house games, and PDA hosted Sioux Falls this weekend. In Brandon Valley, we're seeing lots of ice cats skating here at the IcePlex. It's always fun to see them and watch them grow their program. Over in Brookings, The Brookings Rangers hosted their Bantam A and B tournaments over the weekend with teams from 4 different states and from Canada. Next weekend, the Rangers will host their Junior Gold tournament. A great time with high school players from all over the region. So that should be a good tournament to catch for the weekend next weekend. Over in Mitchell, the Marlins are just starting their youth cross ice games. They have a new rink divider system that they started using this weekend. We're eager to hear how that works for them. For Oahu, the Capitals just started their mini Mike and their Mike in-house games on Friday. And, you know, it's always such a blast to see all those young ones out there just getting started in hockey, starting to fall in love with the game, and looking at the hope for the future. You know, and it's really hard to keep track of that Oahu program. They're just sending teams all over the place. The PEA was at Rushmore this weekend, and I happened to catch that match today. What a game that one was. The Caps came from 2-goal deficit, came from behind to tie it up with just 12 seconds remaining on the clock. The Thunder then caught a goal early in the overtime to win 5-4. But what a great game. I do have video of the second and third periods of that game, and we'll have those up for you on Hockey 605 a little later today or tomorrow. Out here in Rapid City with the Rushmore Thunder, as I mentioned last Friday night, the Rapid City Rush hosted the Rushmore girls for some team period play promoting girls hockey. And that evening was all about the girls, the younger ones playing, some of the varsity girls being recognized on the ice. And then it was all followed up by a free skate with the Rush and the Rapid City Girl Scouts after the game. So what a fun time that was. And speaking of Rushmore, I mentioned earlier, the girls varsity opened their season at home this weekend against Oahu, and they have 3 games already on the season. Today, the Thunder won 12-3, and they had hat tricks from both Maddie Herman and Savannah Litt. It was just fun watching the Rushmore Thunder girls playing today. They were connecting very well. Their passing was spot on, and it just seemed like there was some kind of a string on that puck, because every time one of the Thunder girls would take a shot at the goal, it just followed that string to the back of the net. A lot of good goals in that game, and we're looking forward to getting those up and sharing with you. Sioux Falls. Next weekend, the Flyers will host their first ever hockey tournament at the IcePlex. They have their Split BC Shootout. Both divisions of the tournament are full. Most of those teams will be coming from South Dakota, but they have several Iowa teams too. You know, it's my Christmas month. I'm all in the spirit here. The SCHEELS IcePlex continues to change the game in Sioux Falls. There has been so much activity at the SCHEELS IcePlex that it's almost impossible to keep track of. On any given day of the week, you'll see everything from figure skating, stampede practices, open skating, stick and puck sessions, team practices, individual lessons, plus they have the adult leagues, and of course, the varsity games. Behind you is the in-house Mites League, and you know, we've watched several of their group training sessions, and these young players are getting some fantastic instruction. We get to play these games every Sunday afternoon. Their youth teams are hitting the road hard all over the region, and the varsity teams are well into their season. Now, the girls, not well into they're getting started into their seasons. I don't want to overstate that, because there's still plenty of season left. For Yankton, we did get a look at the new bleachers and the heater system. It looks like a very good improvement for the Yankton Miracle. We want to congratulate Yankton for doing everything they needed to do and putting it all together to make all that happen. The Miracle had teams all over the state this weekend. Their Bantams were at Sioux Falls. The boys' high school teams were at Rushmore. The Peas were at Hawaii. They saw a good portion of South Dakota this weekend. The Yankton Ice Skating Association figure skaters have completed their first session, and they'll be starting their second session on January 8th. Get in touch if you're interested in becoming a figure skater in Yankton. You can contact them right through us or through their website. I think that pretty much wraps it up for the youth roundup for this week. Folks, we want to remind you, if you have any announcements or association news, please contact Hockey 605 through the contact form. We'll get it up for you next week on the ice. We're all about helping share your good news, and look forward to getting that information to share with everybody else. Because remember, you are Hockey 605. Take care, folks.
Hockey 605, and Randy, we've been talking quite a bit about off-ice officials and all the work it takes to make a hockey game happen. And we're here tonight with Ted Schultz with Rushmore Hockey, who's the facilities manager at the Thunderdome. Got a bit of an issue going on here tonight.
We do. We have a pump that went down. The windings burned up, and right now we're looking all over the United States for a pump that is out there. So.
Wow, and the ice has started to degrade a little bit in that second period.
It has, yeah. We finished up our Pee Wee game. The game just got over in overtime, and we're going to shut down the rest of the games for the rest of the day. Luckily, all the league games are done.
And you'll have Mother Nature to help cool things down a little?
We do have a front coming in. Hopefully it stays with us and gets below freezing here overnight, and we can hold the ice.
Well, and people probably don't realize how important, Ted, that ice is. I mean, I could actually hear the ice degrading. The slap of the puck wasn't as solid. You could see a lot more flow going off the back of the skates, I guess you call it. So what does it take for you to get it ready to go?
You know, at the beginning of the season, it takes us about a week of volunteer labor. We're 100% volunteers at our association. Someone's calling me right now on the pumps, but we are the only volunteer privately run rink in the state.
And it takes quite a bit of money to run a rink, doesn't it?
It does. We've raised money. We're always gathering sponsorships, banners, any volunteer free services, anything we can do. We're desperately looking for that.
Or if somebody happens to have a pump in their backyard?
That's right. We're looking North Dakota, Chicago, Alabama, all over the country today, Denver, trying to get that pump. But yeah, the ice will hopefully hold, but it typically in 16 hours it'll start to melt.
So Ted, what's your estimated cost of that part that you have to replace?
It's about a $20,000 project to complete that.
So if somebody wants to help out and contribute to making sure you have good quality ice here for Rushmore Thunder, what can they do?
You know, they can contact me, contact the Rushmore Hockey Association on our website, and we'll certainly entertain anything. We're willing to do trade in advertising, services, you name it, we're available.
Well, and you guys are, as you said, the only privately run facility in at least South Dakota, maybe a 5-state area.
That's true. That's true. We have about 350 skaters, and the parents entirely run this association.
And you got a lot of skaters and a lot of quality skaters. If you had more ice even, it would be interesting to see what your numbers would be.
Absolutely. We're actually renting more ice down at Roosevelt at the city rink this year as one of the first times we've been able to do that with financially. And so we are growing. We're bursting at the seams. We actually have a locker room expansion in the plans, and we desperately need more locker room space. Our varsity program is not fitting in our facility right now, and we expect it to grow next year.
All right. First, got to get that ice back in shape again, right?
That's number one priority. So we have a dozen guys here today trying to make that happen.
All right, Ted. Well, I appreciate you taking time. This is some pretty crazy looking equipment back here. I know you got calls coming in, and hopefully one of those calls is going to be telling you they have a pump for you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yep.
So Randy, there's so much more, as we've talked about, to making hockey happen than just putting uniforms and skates on kids. All this ice and all building the facilities and managing the facilities is a lot of work for people. Bless their hearts, all these volunteers at Rushmore Thunder are going to be working to try and come up with a way to fund a $20,000 piece of equipment that they have to replace. If people are out there and want to help them out, they can get in touch with us and we'll direct them where to go.
Hi, Randy Preston here, Hockey 605, and this week on the ice, it's time now for the Varsity Hockey Roundup. This is something we're going to start doing every week. We talk about the JV and varsity boys and girls around South Dakota. Lots of hockey action this week. We'll start with the JV girls here in South Dakota. And it was a great weekend, it looks like, for the JV girls. Once again, tons and tons of games. We'll start on Friday night. The Sioux Center JV hosted the Yankton girls JV, and Yankton did win that game 3-1. That was once again down in Sioux Center. Then we go to Saturday, and on Saturday in Mitchell, Sioux Falls girls JV took on the Mitchell Marlins girls JV, and Mitchell took that game 6-0. Moving out to Rapid City, the Rushmore Thunder girls junior varsity taking on the Oahe Capitals girls junior varsity, and the Thunder defeated the Caps 9-0. Once again, another big win for the Rushmore Thunder girls junior varsity. Moving on up to Aberdeen. Aberdeen's got a great girls program, and they showed their stuff on Saturday. Aberdeen Cougars girls JV beating the Watertown Lakers 11-0. Moving on then to this morning, Sunday morning, up in Brookings, the Lady Rangers taking on the Sioux Center girls junior varsity program. It was a 9-3 win for the Lady Rangers up in Brookings this morning. Moving on west, a little later in the day today, the Rushmore Thunder once again taking on the Oahe Lady Capitals, and the Lady Thunder defeated the Oahe Capitals 10-1. So, with all of that action, we've got a new set of standings this week. And the Mitchell girls junior varsity are leading the points with 8 points in the league this week. They've got 4 wins and a loss. In second place is Aberdeen girls junior varsity with 3 wins. They've got 2 games less played. They have 6 points, and they're tied with the Yankton girls JV, who's played 4 games, but they're 3-1 with 6 points. Leading the girls junior varsity goaltenders from Aberdeen, Shelby Snow, with a 1,000 save percentage. That's pretty impressive. That is really impressive. In second, we've got Renee Cross from Yankton with a 929 save percentage. And from Mitchell in third place, Caitlin Tobin. She's got a 923 save percentage. So some really great goaltending out there in girls junior varsity. In the skater stats so far, Ashley Jones from Mitchell has 10 points. Caitlin Holland from Aberdeen with 9 points. And then we've got 3 with 8 points. Carly Cruz from Brookings, Maddie Herman from Rushmore, and Erica Westerman from Yankton. Lots, once again, going on in girls junior varsity. It's going to be a great season, and it continues to be so here in South Dakota. All right, let me see if I can find the girls varsity program. Lots of games this week, starting on Friday night, I believe. Up in Brookings, the Brookings Lady Rangers taking on the Sioux Falls Lady Flyers. The Lady Rangers picked that game up 7-5 against the Flyers. Also on Friday night out in Rapid City, the Rushmore Thunder taking on the Oahe Caps. A 7-6 final in Rushmore. Nice close game for the Lady Thunder. Then moving on to Saturday, the Sioux Falls girls varsity moved over to Mitchell to take on the Mitchell Marlins, and they did defeat the Mitchell Marlins 4-2 in Mitchell. Saturday's game in Brookings had the Lady Rangers taking on the Lady All-Stars from Huron, and the Lady Rangers came away with the victory 9-3 for that game. Moving once again out west to Rushmore, Rushmore Thunder taking on the Oahe Lady Capitals, and they took the victory there 5-2. And also then on Saturday up in Aberdeen, the Aberdeen Lady Cougars taking on the Lady Lakers from Watertown, and it was a big win for the Lady Cougars, 13-2. Lots of scoring in that game. Now we've got a few games happening that happened today. First of all, out in Rushmore, the Rushmore Thunder girls varsity beating the Oahe Caps in a rematch 13-4. In Aberdeen, the Lady Cougars taking on the Lady Lakers, and the win was 11-1 today for the Aberdeen Cougars. And finally, a rematch over in Mitchell with the Sioux Falls Flyers taking on the Mitchell Marlins, and a 4-1 win for the Lady Flyers. There is a game in progress right now in Brookings. The Huron All-Stars girls varsity taking on the Brookings girls varsity. We do not have a score for that one as of right now. Here are the standings in girls varsity at this moment. Aberdeen leads, or actually we have a 3-way tie for first place in girls varsity right now. Aberdeen and Brookings each have 4 games under their belts, and they have a 4-0 record for 8 points. The Sioux Falls girls varsity is also tied for first. They have played 7 games so far. They have a 4-3 record. So it's all tied up at the top of the standings. Lots and lots of stuff going on with girls. Let's talk about the goaltenders real quick. Haley Huff from Aberdeen with a 923 save percentage leads the goaltending for the girls varsity. Brittany Corcoran from Sioux Falls with a 909 save percentage in second, and Tadra Simmerman from Mitchell with an 865 rounds up the top 3. For scoring, our Robin Hatcher from the Sioux Falls Lady Flyers leads the league in scoring with 16 points. Haley Holland from Aberdeen with 15 points for second place, and Bethany Rennick from Brookings rounds up the top 3 with 14 points. Once again, girls varsity, lots and lots of stuff going on, lots of games, and there are more games coming up next weekend. So if you're looking for something to do and looking for some great hockey, girls varsity really has some good stuff. Now moving on to boys junior varsity. Boys JV had a ton of games this weekend. And I've got scores for most, but there are a couple of scores that are missing right now. There was a Friday night game up in Watertown, the Brookings Rangers taking on the Watertown Lakers. That score has not yet been reported. In Sioux Falls on Friday night, Sioux Falls boys JV taking on the Sioux Center Storm, and the Sioux Falls boys, the Flyers, picked up the win 3-2 in a really good game on Friday night here at the SCHEELS IcePlex. On Saturday, Sioux Falls then took on the Oahe Capitals boys junior varsity, another great game for Sioux Falls JV. They took the win 6-2. And then again on Saturday down in Yankton, Rushmore Thunder coming in with a 7-1 win over the Yankton Bucks down there in Yankton. On Sunday then, we had a repeat down in Yankton, the Rushmore Thunder taking on the Yankton Bucks. This time the Thunder comes away with a 4-2 victory. And also today here in Sioux Falls, the junior varsity boys taking on the Aberdeen Cougars junior varsity. Aberdeen walks away with a win 3-1 in a tightly contested game. Very good game here at the IcePlex. That's it for JV for the weekend. In the standings, Sioux Falls leads the standings with 5 points. However, they have 5 games played. Brookings, Rushmore, and Aberdeen all have 4 points for a tie for second place. Brookings and Rushmore played 2 games, and Aberdeen has played 3. Leading the boys JV goaltenders is Lexi Lynn from Brookings with a 1,000 save percentage. From Oahe in second place, Matt Pease with a 926 save percentage. And in third, Parker Young with a 917 save percentage. Right behind Parker with a 912 save percentage is Adam Grady from the Sioux Falls Flyers. The scoring so far, leading the scoring board and the leaderboard in the JV this week, Johnny Hockett from Brookings with 8 points, followed by Drew Norwick from Oahe and Zach Fendrick from Oahe with 6 points and 5 points altogether. Moving on to boys varsity, and it was a wild, wild weekend in boys varsity here in South Dakota. We'll start with Friday night. Once again, we've got a Watertown game that I do not have a score of as of right now. Watertown Lakers taking on the Brookings Rangers. We'll move into Mitchell, where the Huron All-Stars boys varsity came down to play the Mitchell Marlins, and Mitchell Marlins walked away with a 7-4 win. Here in Brookings, the Oahe Caps came into town taking on the Sioux Falls Blue Team, the top team here in Sioux Falls, and the Oahe Caps came away with a 5-4 overtime win in a very tightly contested game that I watched here at the IcePlex, and it was a wild, kind of a rickety game, but it all came together, and the Oahe Caps did come away with a 5-4 win. They followed that up the next day, taking on the Sioux Falls Orange team here at the IcePlex. Oahe Caps with the victory over Sioux Falls Orange 7-2. And then moving down to Yankton, Rushmore Thunder came to town. Rushmore Thunder 10, Yankton Bucks 2 on Saturday. And then coming back here to the IcePlex Saturday night, the Aberdeen Cougars came to town. Sioux Falls Flyers Blue taking on the Aberdeen Cougars. 3-1 victory for Sioux Falls Flyers Blue. Over in Mitchell, Watertown Lakers came to town. Mitchell Marlins 7-6 overtime win for the Marlins. And then moving over on to Sunday, back again the rematch down in Yankton. The Rushmore Thunder taking on the Yankton Bucks. 11-2 win for the Thunder. Here in Sioux Falls this afternoon, the Sioux Falls boys varsity Orange team taking on the Aberdeen Cougars, and the Cougars walked away with the win 5-2. And up in Huron this afternoon, the All-Stars taking on the Brookings Rangers, and the Rangers put a hurt on the All-Stars today, 8-1 in the final there. So, in the standings for boys varsity around the state, we've got a lot of teams with 4 games and 3 games played so far. In first place, the Oahe Caps with 8 points, followed by the Aberdeen Cougars with 6 points and a 3-1 record. And the Sioux Falls Flyers blue team is in third place with 5 points, with a 2-0-1 record with that overtime loss to Oahe. For the goaltenders around the state, Russ Kronberg from Aberdeen has a .938 save percentage for first place. Nick Dalco, also from Aberdeen, with a .929 save percentage. And then Adam Grady with Sioux Falls Orange team with a .913 save percentage. We'll also toss a shout out to Matt Pease from the Oahe Caps. He follows Adam with a .911 save percentage. For scoring, really no contest in scoring. Landon Badger from Oahe with 15 points on the season so far, followed by Anthony Petrato from Rushmore with 9 points, and Patrick Merrigan from Watertown with 9 points as well. That kind of wraps up the boys varsity, girls varsity, the varsity roundup, I guess we'll call it. We're going to take a quick break, talk to one of our sponsors. We'll be right back.
This is a story about evolution, specifically about the evolution of hockey. Everything has changed in hockey. Just look at the progression in the art of building a skate. And the safety of the goalies? Unbelievable evolution there. How about sticks? From the very crude to space-age composites. Player safety gear? Wow, incredible progress. Even the venues have evolved. Everything has evolved except the way we get information to tournament visitors. The tournament program has been largely unevolved for generations. But now that old unevolved program has evolved, and it's made a quantum leap to your smartphone. The Tourney Program smartphone program enhances tournament visitors' experiences by delivering information on their favorite device, their smartphones. The Tourney Program platform engages people in a way that no other media can. We can deliver your sponsorship or advertising message to our visitors literally weeks before the event even begins. What an advantage for you. And we have more options than you can shake a stick at. Evolve with the Tourney Program platform. Check us out today at tourneyprogram.com.
Welcome back to This Week on the Ice. I'm Randy Preston, Hockey 605. And it's time for the Junior Hockey Report. South Dakota Junior Hockey, we've got a lot of that here in South Dakota with the Wings and the Blizzard in the North American Hockey League and the Sioux Falls Stampede in the USHL. Let's start with the North American League, and let's take a look at the Wings and the Blizzard. And they had repeat weekends from last weekend, playing the same teams they met the previous weekend, only in the opposite venue. So we'll start with the Aberdeen Wings. Unfortunately for the Wings, another tough weekend. Friday night, the Bismarck Bobcats traveled to the Odie Ice Center in Aberdeen for a rematch of the Friday night game from the previous week. Bobcats got out to a 3-1 lead in the first. In the third, the Bobcats scored 2 goals for a 5-1 lead just 7 minutes in. The Wings came flying back late in the third, scoring 3 goals in just a little over 2 minutes. They then pulled the goaltender Andrew Shortridge with less than a minute left, but they came up shorthanded and took a 5-4 loss. Kind of an interesting game that night. It really didn't look like Aberdeen had a chance at all, and they came back in the end to get that 5-4 loss. Moving down to Brookings, Friday night, the Blizzard had a rematch with their division leader, the Minot Toros. What a great name for a hockey team. In a defensive battle, the Blizzard outshot the Toros 22-15 on the night, but came up short in the end. Ryan Kubik was in goal for the Brookings Blizzard, and he took the 2-1 loss. Toros scored 1 goal in the second and 1 in the third for the win. On Saturday night, the Blizzard and the Wings met each other, and they met at the Larson Ice Center in Brookings for a rematch of last Saturday's game. Brookings scored early in the first with a goal from Tyler Burnt. In the second, Aberdeen scored at the 4:20 mark with a goal from Austin Swingle. And then 10 minutes later, a Blizzard goal from Bo Machad gave the Blizzard the lead for good. The third period saw the Blizzard get goals from Eddie Eads and Kevin Shan to give the Brookings Blizzard a 4-1 victory. Chad Catt took the loss in net for the Wings. He stopped 23 of 27 on the night, and Ryan Kubik grabbed the win for the Blizzard, stopping 19 of 20. Bo Machad had a 3-point night for the Blizzard with a goal and 2 assists. Now next weekend is more of the same. The two teams exchange nights, but they're going to take on the exact same opponents again next weekend. So on Friday, Aberdeen heads to Brookings, and then they take on Bismarck in the Odie on Saturday night. And then after the home game Friday night against the Wings, Brookings hops that lonely road up to Minot for a Saturday night game against the Toros. So for the standings in the North American Hockey League, nothing has really changed at this point. Minot still leads, and they've got a commanding lead. Well, I shouldn't even say that. They've got a good lead with 39 points. Following right behind them are the Austin Bruins with 37 points. Then right behind that would be the Bismarck Bobcats. They have 31 points on the season, but they do have a game in hand with Austin and Minot. And then bringing up fourth place is Aberdeen. Aberdeen stayed the same with 28 points, but Brookings is slowly catching them. They picked up 2 points on the weekend, and they're at 25 points, only 3 points behind the Aberdeen Wings. All right, the Sioux Falls Stampede. We're going to start first talking about the World Junior A Challenge. We've got a Stampede player who is playing in Canada for the World Junior A Challenge and Team USA. Team USA picked several players from around the United States Hockey League, put a team together, and they're taking on the world in the World Junior Challenge, Junior A Challenge up in Canada. On Friday night, Team USA did beat Canada West in a pre-tournament game, 6-3. Joshua got on the board with 2 assists on the night, so 2 points for Dakota Joshua. The actual tournament games start tomorrow when Team USA takes on Switzerland, and then a Tuesday game they'll be taking on Canada East. So we'll have more on that tournament this upcoming weekend. You can always look for results on usahockey.com or Google World Junior A Challenge. You'll find a lot more going on out of the internet for that. Moving on to the Sioux Falls Stampede. The Stampede traveled this weekend to Muskegon to take on the Muskegon Lumberjacks on Friday and Saturday. Of course, the Herd was missing their first line forward, Dakota Joshua, playing in the World Junior A Challenge. Stampede outshot the Lumberjacks 39-16 on opening night, Friday night. In a penalty-filled game, the Herd's penalty kill gave up 3 goals, but their power play could not score. Former Stampede forward Griffin Molino had 3-point night for the Lumberjacks in a decisive 5-2 win. He had 1 goal and 2 assists. Goaltender Art Bry took the loss-in goal for the Stampede, stopping 12 of 16 shots. Newly acquired forward Alec Marsh received a 5-game suspension for a checking from behind penalty early in the second period, so he's going to be out for a while. He did miss the following night and will miss the next 4 games for the Stampede. On Saturday night, the Herd decided to make some amends for the previous night, and they took an early 1-0 lead with a goal from Logan O'Connor very early in the game. The two teams swapped goals during the first period, and the Herd ended up on top 3-2 at the break. The Stampede's Daniel Warpeka scored the lone goal in the second period. The Herd came out strong in the third, scoring 2 goals. Logan O'Connor had his second goal of the night and a power play goal from Clint Lewis. The Herd's power play was really clicking on the night. They scored 3 for 5. Stefanos Lekas took the win in net for the Stampede, stopping 31 of 34 shots. And Troy Loggins had 3 points as with a goal and 2 assists. Logan O'Connor had 3 points with 2 goals and an assist for the Herd. On Wednesday night, Stampede returns to the Denny Sanford Premier Center. They're going to be taking on the Des Moines Buccaneers at 7:05. And then they will travel to Fargo on Friday night for a game taking on the Fargo Force before Christmas break, when they take about a week and a half off. And then they return for a 9-game homestand at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. In the standings in the Junior USHL, the middle muck that we had last weekend has cleared up a little bit. We've got a little better focus now in the Western Conference. Sioux City leads the Western Conference with 33 points. Tri-City is right behind them with 29, followed by Des Moines with 27. Omaha has 24 points, Fargo has 23 points, and Sioux Falls has 23 points. So the middle has cleared up a little bit in that Tri-City has Des Moines, has broken away from the pack. But we still have Omaha, Fargo, and Sioux Falls in a dead heat, trying to get that 4th playoff spot in the USHL. In the Eastern Conference, Cedar Rapids is still walking away with the Eastern Conference. They have 40 points with a 20-4 record. And Muskegon is in second place with 35 points, 17-7-1 record. The Dubuque Saints follow that with 29 points and are tied with Youngstown for 3rd place. Once again, 29 points for Youngstown as well. Great week in junior hockey, great week in hockey in general here in South Dakota. And I'd like to say thank you for Carol for joining us from Rapid City. Hopefully you're having a good time out in the hills. I guess I wish I was there, but you know, I'm here in South Dakota. I'm here at the SCHEELS IcePlex, where we had a great hockey weekend, by the way. So I guess that's really all for the night here for Hockey 605 and This Week on the Ice. Join us next week. I'm Randy Preston, and for Carol, saying goodbye and have a great week.